Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where we explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Boogaerts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. It's my podcast birthday. I single-handedly launched it in March of 2024, the end of March. I think it was like the 26th or something like that. And so today I wanted to celebrate that it is my third birthday. And what I want to talk to you about today is how to launch your own podcast. I have some ideas for you. I have a whole little process flow of what I did and how I did it without losing my mind. Because I know that a lot of people are kind of scared about, the amount of time that it takes and what's involved in it. So, yes, that's what we're going to talk today, because I personally love, when things materialize, when you have an idea and you can actually see something that's tangible. I can actually see these podcast episodes on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and all those kind of things. It's just so cool. But it's actually why I love doing what I'm doing. My whole career, I've always loved being able to see tangible results of the project that I've been working on. And I've been a project manager now for 16 years. And at the beginning of that, I worked at the BBC in London, England. And the project I was on was actually physically moving departments around different buildings within the BBC buildings in London. And it was so cool that for each department, after, we moved them, I could see their new space and all of them in it. And that's how pretty it was. And then when I moved back to Vancouver, I went into software development and I was a technical program manager. And that was cool too, because I could actually see the software that we were building. I could actually go to the website and play with it and use it, which was pretty awesome. And now working with coaches on their program launches, including podcast launches, by doing the tech for them, I get to see the pages being built. I get to see the people registering for their event. I get to see the coach speak and run their event. And I get to see the sales roll in, which is just so totally awesome. I just love doing what I do. And because I'm very much of a logical thinker and process-driven planner person, for me, I was able to launch my podcast in a really stress-free way because I was following a detailed process and I took it step by step, just one step at a time. And as I'm sure you know, a couple of weeks ago, launched episode 100 of this show. And with so many shows, I've been able to make my podcast publishing process stress-free and fun and easy. So what I want to talk to you about today is a high-level process for launching your podcast that I followed myself and I was taught. And there will be a handout. Actually, you can download it to get your copy of the actual, it's like a visual flow chart of it with all the notes that I'm going to be talking through today. So if you want to download that, actually have it for you. And then I want to talk to you about how I came up with the process of bringing clients to my show and how I've made this a really seamless process for me. So I'm not going to lie, launching a podcast is a lot of work. It is. But if you have a process that you follow step by step, bit by bit, it is totally doable. So I'm going to take you through that process now. And if you're listening, listen in, but make sure you go and download the handout. You don't have to take mad notes or anything if you are able to take notes right now. So I learned this process in an 8-week program that I was in. And I actually did the homework as I went. I went week by week. And this is why I didn't lose my mind. And that's the biggest advice that I can give anyone. Take it, one step at a time and keep moving forward. So the first step I've kind of taken this, what I learned, and kind of sort of making it my own kind of process. But the first thing you need to do is brainstorming. Brainstorm the name for your show. What do you want it to be about? What are your episode themes? You can come up with the first sort of 10, 15 episode themes that you want to have. Like today's theme for me is launching a podcast. And brainstorm the guests that you want to invite. You can have your sort of star, sort of celebrity guests you would love to have on your show, and also just people that you want on. So the first season for this podcast was about being your authentic self. So I came up with themes on that. And I wanted to talk about the kinds of guests that I wanted. Then I made a list of my life coach and mindfulness coaches that I knew who I wanted to interview. So that was kind of how I did my brainstorming. The second step is to design your structure. So do you want it to be like interview style? Do you want to do everything solo where it's just you? Do you want it to be more like narrative storytelling? Do you want it to be teaching, kind of like what I do? Do you want hybrid? You can have musical guests. You can co-host with it. And for me, as you know, I do 20 to 30 minutes. I try to keep it in there. And I have my shows where I talk and I also have guests. So I have a hybrid model where there's a lot more teaching than storytelling, though. We always throw in some storytelling in there. Step 3 is research. So research your calendar booking software if you don't already have it, your podcast hosting software, your recording software. You can just use Zoom. I use Zoom. You have editing software as well. And that can actually be the same as your hosting software, which is pretty cool. Excuse me. And then look at your microphone, webcam. So research all these things and then start to make your purchases. So buy your microphone, buy your webcam if you need it, if you don't already have one. For me, I decided to buy a microphone, even though like I have like a microphone in my webcam and on my laptop. I wanted to have one that was like a better quality sound. And I could actually like, move sort of closer to my mouth so it kind of can talk like this. Yeah, so I have a Yeti that I love, a blue Yeti. And then get writing. So you can get AI to help you with this, with writing the description of your show, writing a tagline to your show, your intro and your outro to your show. So get writing all these things. And every time that I start a new season, I follow this process and I use AI to help me to give me a new description, a new tagline, intro and outro, or like a subheading. And then outline your first 8 shows. So what is the theme going to be of them? What's the topic? What guests do you want to have if you're having guests? And what kind of questions as well do you want to ask your guests? I mean, I actually get my guests to give me questions. So in the form, I'm like, hey, do you have any questions you want me to ask you? And I find that really easy to use. Step 7 is get recording. So record your intro, record your outro, record your first episode. And I highly recommend your first episode being you and you talking about the show, what it's all about, you introducing yourself and sort of all that there. Definitely, even like your first 3 episodes at least could be just you. And then you want to edit your first show. Now, I have to say that I don't edit my own shows anymore. But I definitely did at the beginning for the first like probably year and a half, I would say. I used to spend time like listening to the entire episode and I'd be taking out like little silent spaces, or if I said something that I didn't like, I would take it out. And I found this to be incredibly draining. And it was so hard on myself. So I decided to stop it, to be nice to myself and just let it be the way it is. It's like life. Sometimes you fumble on words. And so my show is about authenticity and it's not about perfection. So it's like, okay, I need to just let that go. Stop like scrutinizing all the different words and things that was going on. I would listen to like every word of the entire episode and take things out. So yeah, it was really hard. But the software that I use for my hosting also has editing in it. And it has some AI features in it that automatically does things like remove silent spaces. You can adjust the audio levels if I'm louder than my guest. It's really great. It's called Async, actually, and I will put an affiliate link in the show notes for that too. So you can use Async if you're interested in it. It used to be called Podcastle, but now it's called Async. Step 9 is to choose your software, right? Choose the podcast hosting software that you want to use, your calendar booking software, and sign up for both of them. Then choose your launch date. Oh, so exciting. Choose that date, tell people about it, actually get it in, and then to put together a 1-month marketing plan for your launch. I think it's a really good idea to be talking about it and getting people excited about it so that when it launches, you get lots of people listening to it, which will really, boost up all the algorithm and things and get you noticed. And then step 12 is to launch your podcast and get it out there and start doing your shows. It's so much fun. It's funny. In that 8-week program that I took, one of my classmates, all of them, we were all moving along at a really nice pace and we were all doing the homework. And then we were wanting to do launches and we all wanted to host launch parties and we wanted to invite each other to them on Zoom where everybody listens to the first episode during the call and then you ask them to give a rating and review it. And it's a really great way to boost up your stats. And in Apple Podcasts, for example. So we had to coordinate when we would be launching so we could all support each other. So we're like, okay, let's do it like week by week by week. And we had like, I don't know, 15 people in the class. And so we like, and everybody was like, oh no, I want to launch first. I want to launch first. And you're all sort of like jiving for like when they were going to do it. And I was like, whatever. Like, I didn't really care. Doing the podcast thing was, it was never really something I was like, yes, yes. I like, it was never like a passion of mine, something I definitely had to do. But I was in this class and actually was gifted the class. And I was like, oh, why not? Let's do it. Who would have thought like over 100 episodes later and hitting my third birthday is hilarious. Um, I didn't really care much. So everybody else was sort of driving for time. So we started in January. Everybody filled up January, February. So I launched mine on March 25th of 2024. And I was like, whatever. I was like one of the last. And you want to know how many of them actually launched besides me? One person, one other person of all those people, none of them launched in all that time where they were all so excited. We were like in December, like November, December. They're like, oh my God, I'm about to launch. And then nobody did except for me. I was like, what? So I could have launched in January? Are you kidding me? Anyway, but it's interesting to see what can really hold people back, right? So I really think that if you just follow this process, it'll be easy for you and you can just get it done. And whatever fears come up, deal with those fears, process those emotions, release all that energy and get out there, get your show out there. And it's just so funny. And so I think another reason, like one of the reasons that could be, why people maybe don't launch is that is the podcast guesting process and the publishing process. So I want to talk to you about the podcast guesting process that I came up for myself for bringing guests on my show and how I've made it like super seamless experience for me and for my guests. So this is also in that PDF that you can download. So if you want to take a look at that, it's on page 2. So the way I thought about this was, okay, what information do I need from my guests? What information do they need from me? And in what order does all that need to happen? And I like to use a mind map to brainstorm things. And so I put them in order. So that's kind of how I did it. I mind mapped it. So the first step is to first decide on what you need from them. So create a podcast guest list of the info that you need. So things like a bio, a headshot, the topic of their expertise, a link to their gift. These are things that we need from them. And then set up a calendar booking system for your podcast interview. When I first started doing this, I was using Calendly. I now use my Go High Level account, but because it has a calendar function. But in both, I was able to ask for things from that list in the form itself in the calendar. So when they're booking the invite, they couldn't actually book the interview until they gave me that information. So I would ask them, okay, put a link to your headshot. Tell me what your bio is. What's your topic of expertise? Like, what questions do you want me to ask you? Do you want to give a gift? All these kinds of things. And so they would have to fill it in. And I know that some of my clients, like you can also just use a Google form. If your calendar doesn't do that, that totally works too. So the third step is to set up an interview confirmation email. And if you couldn't gather information from before, any information that you missed, you could, include the form in this email or say like, hey, respond to me and give me this information, whatever it is that you need. So, so this kind of helps with that. And it also gets it into their calendar. I know a lot of us live by our calendars. You want to get it in there. You want to get it into their calendar. So for example, like one of the things I put in my email is that I use audio only. I don't do video. So I tell them, you don't need to get all dolled up. You can just show up as you are, and not everybody reads it and they do show up all beautiful. I'm like, sorry, we're not using the video. I even go off video sometimes. If I'm like exhausted that day and can't be on video anymore, I'm like, we're going off video because we're only using audio anyway. Step 4 is to create a document or a spreadsheet for your podcast publishing schedule. So I use a Google Sheet for this, and I add guests to it after I interview them. And at the end of the interview, I look at my podcast schedule, and then I tell them when I think it will be published, and I actually add them to the schedule right then and there. So then you can create a graphic template for your guest episodes. So I have a template that I use for all my guests. You've probably seen them if you're looking at this. Like I publish them with everything, and all I do is update their headshot. I put their headshot in there, the episode number, and the episode title. Yeah, when and I even ask my guests for their episode title as well. I'm like, do you have an idea what this episode title might be good? And I usually use whatever they give me. It's so awesome, super easy. And then write an email template for when a guest episode is published to email it to your guest. So, and be sure to ask them to promote your episode. So I have an email template and I just said to send it to everybody being like, hey, your podcast is publishing. I put the date in there. So the template is really easy. It's like a rinse and repeat thing. And then when your podcast is actually published, I email the guest on that too. So I usually email them like a week before saying, hey, your podcast is being published in a week. Here's your graphic. Here's some swipe copy. Please like connect with me on social media and I want you to promote it. And then on the day it goes live, I just remind them, I'm like, hey, like it's live. Here you go again. And I have this automated through my CRM. So this is a pretty easy process. And once it's set up, it's all automated. And the only thing that I have to do is show up and interview them. It's super easy, right? They go in, they go to my calendar, they give me all the information. I have all the information. The emails go out automatically. It's super seamless. I really love it. And now this makes publishing a breeze, right? Because I don't have to edit the recording. I have everything I need in a template. I have all the information that I need from my guests before we even start recording. I have my intro, my outro is already done that I use for each episode. It just makes it so super easy. And I even have my assistant publish my shows for me. I noticed that I didn't love the publishing process. Like I said before, like I was making it too onerous on me because I was like listening to the entire episode. But even when I stopped doing that and it just took the episodes as they are and just kind of put the intro outro on and then published it and created a description for the show and created the graphic, I noticed that I was totally procrastinating on that. I was like, oh my God, like, because my show goes out every Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. Pacific. And sometimes it'd be like 9 o'clock the evening before, like Tuesday night, like 9 p.m. I'd be like, oh, my show, my part going out tomorrow. Like, and so I'd like run to my desk and like get it edited and get it published. So I was just like, you know what? Like, why am I procrastinating on this so hard? Like, obviously, I just don't like doing it. And this is one of those things that, that you can just hire someone to do for you. And it doesn't take very long. I think it takes for maybe like 30, 45 minutes per show. Oh no, maybe a little bit longer, maybe an hour per show to, get it edited and all that kind of stuff. I think even less actually. So it's really, easy. And actually, maybe, I should look at that, how long it takes her to do. But it's definitely under an hour that you can just pay someone to do it for you. She puts like the intro and the outro and the episode together. She schedules it. She creates a graphic using the template. And then she goes into my Go High Level, my CRM, and puts a publish date on the contact's information. And then this triggers off the automation emails. So super easy for her to do. So if you want all of this in like a nice little visual roadmap of these plans and these steps, and basically everything I said to you is in this little visual diagram that I've created. So you can launch your podcast with ease and also have your guests come in with ease. As it doesn't have to feel so super complicated, right? It can be an easy to follow flow chart and it gives you a very clear visual roadmap so you can plan your launch and get everything set up properly and go live with ease. So there is a link to that in the show notes, but it is at launchpartnerpro.com/podcast gift. That's launchpartnerpro.com/podcast gift, and you can get it there. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. And I hope you learned a few things. And if you have thought about launching your own podcast, I hope that this has inspired you, that it's actually not that hard. You can get it done. And then maybe you'll be like me and you'll find yourself celebrating your third birthday in 3 years' time. And you'll be past 100 episodes as well. And it's just absolutely amazing and just so much fun. I meet so many amazing people and I love doing the show. And I have to think it wouldn't be here if you guests weren't listening. So thank you so much for listening and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.